I'm Terry Sacka, and this is Rigged Against You. How far will the markets crash? Now, I know we've had a bump back up. We've gone down 10%. We're kind of back up a few points. This is very common before the big one comes. Just know Warren Buffett is sitting in hundreds of billions in cash for a reason. So I would be very cautious here. I still would not be surprised to see a 30% correction. But let me show you some data to show you what we're up against, because I like showing the data, because you're not just listening to somebody who's speaking. I'm actually showing you the truth, the paper, going in with the receipts, right? So let me show you this information. You hear it a lot, but you need to see it to understand. After this correction takes place, hopefully the Federal Reserve will start lowering interest rates. It'll be a big boom for gold and silver, which I highly recommend giving Cornerstone Asset Metals a call. This is just the beginning. Don't think for a second we're high in price. Silver is just getting started. Gold will easily find its way towards 5,000. But more importantly, if you can sideline your stock holdings, if you're not doing anything into cash and just wait this out, the probabilities higher are way too low, and you can get yourself back in at a discount. And I would highly recommend being serious about that. So let me take a look at this. Before I get going, please consider subscribing and hit the bell for notifications. My podcast, I don't drop often, but when I do, I'd like you to be notified so you can get some of this data to maybe help you make the decisions that we're faced with. I'm extremely encouraged what's coming in the future, but please note, this could take a few years to clean out. There's a lot more going on, and we're starting to see that through Doge than anyone even realizes. So let's start with this one. First, the federal debt, total public debt. Do not underestimate how important it is to see how straight up we're going. They're showing you $36 trillion in public debt. That's only $36 trillion is just the baseline. They're not telling you about unfunded liabilities like Social Security and Medicare. And when you start getting into that category, we are talking literally $100 trillion plus. It's pretty serious. So we do need some radical reform. And we also need, whether we like it or not, to transform into the crypto digital world, which is definitely coming. And I am stunned. I'll get into more about that another time, but just stunned at really intelligent people. I'm talking board members of banks. I'm talking people that should know better, have zero clue of what crypto is. We're not talking about meme coins. We're talking about utilities, tokenization of every asset, blockchaining every asset. It's important that you start to understand this, or you may miss an opportunity of a lifetime. Why gold and silver is going to be so valuable outside the system, because it is the only asset you will own that won't be considered collateral against the financial system. Don't think for a second the financial system is okay. Globally, it's not. Worldwide, in the Western hemisphere anyway, very much so is not. And yet we're still spending like it's not a big deal, which should be an alarm to you. Let's go here. Now, the U.S. government debt is absolutely exploding. We all hear this and we talk about it, but the United States government is $36 trillion in debt. And then this is insane. It really is, not counting unfunded liabilities. Our national debt is approximately 36 times larger than it was when Ronald Reagan first entered the White House. And I know people, it seems like all these are decades. This is not that big of a deal. You're going to be shocked. We have been spending trillions upon trillions. We should, if Americans really caught on to what was going on here, we should have hundreds of thousands of people in the street protesting. This is so unacceptable. We have unbelievable trillions of our tax dollars going to absolute waste and fraud, and they're doing it this way. USAID is just one example, but this is the far left George Soros NGOs. These are non-governmental organizations, protest handbooks printed with taxpayer dollars. 300 billion had vanished into nonprofits with no oversight. What they're doing is they're giving line item budgets, let's say to the EPA, and let's say we're giving them $80 billion, tens of billions of that is being funneled into these things, NGO. These are nonprofit organizations. Supposedly, they are supposed to be doing things that benefit the cause of the government organization they're working for. But that's just not what we're finding out. A lot of this money, trillions, is being sent overseas and for projects that are so unacceptable. If we were to actually manage our budget properly, the amount of trillions we could be pouring in to the United States infrastructure, electric grid, roads, bridges, communities, and schools is astronomical. These NGOs are absolutely guilty of fraud, waste, and abuse at the highest level, and there seems no accountability. The more Doge digs in, the more we're finding out our government is wasting so much money, it is stratospheric, and what that could be doing for we the people. So here we have these debt levels way beyond. Now, this is all why it's important to understand if we're wanting to know where the markets are going. We're at the end. Whether people realize it or not, we are at the end of a cycle, period. And at a time right now, this one is labor force. Look at how many people are not in the labor force. Just over the last couple decades, we have well over 100,000 people not in the workforce. What are they doing? How many of these people are unemployed, getting paid for activism, for political activism, for the left, into the queer world, trying to change, destroy our family, our governmental structure, our children? We are talking 100 million people in this country, and yet we want to keep bringing people in. 100 million that are not even working at a time when our inflation is so high. They're so lying about inflation. Real inflation is definitely still 10, 11%. And you can get that through shadow stats, which is real data measured from the 1980s. If we understand we are way in debt beyond any capacity to recover, you can kind of get an idea why it's so important. We need to go into the crypto capital, but that's another conversation for a different time. I've talked about it a lot. I encourage you to go look for it. Household debt right now, because of the inflation since COVID, is soared to almost unbelievable levels over the last 30 years. The sad truth is that there's just not the U.S. government that is a massive debt problem. U.S. households have also been accumulating debt at a staggering rate. We, the people, because of inflation, are struggling for the basic needs. I don't have to tell you this. You're buying it. I just went and bought it. It was an organic tub, small tub, mind you, of cottage cheese. It was almost $7. It used to be $2.50. Don't tell us things are not things are all rosy and going to be fine. These prices will not be able to come down much. The dollar doesn't buy anything. We're diluted. We're spending and wasting trillions that we could be putting back into the United States, but we're not. We're sending it worldwide to countries that really have no interest for us to be putting hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into. It's because of this behavior why this market crash is more substantial than you think coming. But more importantly, how we're going to dig ourselves out of it is going to be the biggest challenge. The total of all debt, government, business, and consumer in the United States is now well over $100 trillion. And if you notice, it just keeps going straight up. We had a small hiccup down there during COVID, but we're not stopping this trend. This is something that you have to understand through history is unsustainable. We cannot be printing and printing trillions upon trillions. It will dilute our buying power. That's why raspberries, rent, everything is hundreds of % more than it was 5 years ago. Unfortunately, Some products will, but a lot of these just cannot come back down. So we have to generate economy. We have to get people to make money. And unfortunately, wages will have to rise. This is all inflationary. In order to afford a standard of living here, we should be furious that we cannot afford a standard of living in the United States when we're spending literally hundreds of billions and trillions in foreign countries in ways that absolutely do not benefit the better of we the people. That's how corrupt and politically corrupt our government has become. And we're trying to clean it up. And yet you have the left just going anarchy level because we're taking away their protest money, their activism money. And if you look at what their activism is for, it is nothing that benefits the families and we the people of the United States who are citizens, let alone the hundreds of billions we're wasting on illegal aliens. This is why the United States is in deep trouble and why we need serious reform. Are we ready for that serious reform? I personally just don't know. If you look at the M1 supply, this is big. It dropped just slightly after COVID, obviously, but we have gone straight up on M1. Now, this is money printing. M1 is pure money printing. The growth of our supply is a horror show when you see it going straight up like this and you think everything is okay. Just look at how rapidly the M1 has been skyrocketing over the last couple of years. During the pandemic, M1 went from $4 trillion to more than $20 trillion, and the Federal Reserve is clearly guilty of economic malpractice. Going from 4 to 20 trillion is why we've seen the hundreds of percent increase in prices, goods, and service. This is not sustainable. Unfortunately, the money they're trying to save through Doge is nothing. It's incidental, really. I think if anything, it's showing how corrupt our system is, sending money away to countries and people that do nothing to benefit we, the people, and we, the taxpayers. Whereas if we turned around and spent that money for us on our world, our country, infrastructure, water plants, electric grids, schools, roads, and we can go on, how much better of a nation would we be? We need a major transformation because this is not going anywhere. But this is also why gold is well over $3,000 an ounce. Right now, it's currently sitting at about $3,050. Many people think, oh, this is pretty high. It's probably going to correct. It always can correct. But the point is, gold is going to continue to march towards 5,000 and then 10,000. It's because we're printing currency, diluting. If you only knew behind the scenes what is going on with gold moving out, I'm talking at a feverish pace from the Bank of England. It is leaving the LBMA over there in London. It's going to Switzerland, which is a refinery. They're putting it into actual market, what we call eligible bars. And if you saw the charts of the importation of gold to the United States, you would be astounded. They're covering their rear end. The gold we have here in the United States is probably there in Fort Knox, but there's probably 10 people for every 1 ounce that's in there because they leased out the right to the gold for people to collateralize and leverage into the market system. Our markets are so phony. It's built on money that doesn't exist. Doge even found 14 computers that just print money out of nowhere and send it out. We have no accountability. Our federal government is absolutely broke. They can't tax their way out of it, cut spending out of it. Something bigger has to happen. So how far can this market crash? If they don't get a handle on this, what data I'm showing you, we easily will see a 30% correction here near-term future, potentially 40 to 50% in order to really force the Fed to start lowering rates. If we start lowering rates to get this economy moving, which it's going to take, But they're not going to do it because inflation's too high. It's a catch-22. We literally, in a time and season in history, so many people are completely unaware of, so many in the kingdom with their heads in the sand. I'm astounded. But I'm going to give you all credit for those people who are like that, the deniers. I'm going to say it's normalcy bias, which is really a psychological condition of intelligent people in denial because they haven't seen it, haven't been a part of it, and don't really believe it's coming. Well, I can show you the data, and I'm telling you, with that data, it's impossible for the United States to maintain its course without some major corrections. And I do believe that the crypto capital of the world has potential if the government were to come in and buy billions of tokens of XRP, XLM, HBAR, and such, and wait for those to appreciate. As the world tokenizes every asset, stock and bond and real estate and financial contracts, you name it, artwork, we can go on and on. When tokenization takes effect, yes, we will be losing our freedom, but what an opportunity for the United States to keep the Ripple RLUSD and other stable coins of the United States dollar in the world's basically sight. They will have to use it in order to function. This is big. And if we pull this off, we can bring hundreds of trillions in wealth to the United States. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in the American people. We have woken up to some extent and voted in Donald Trump and a thin margin of Republican. It's not good enough. Not every Republican is worth their weight in salt. They're just not. But we need more. We need to wake up and recognize this country is broke. We don't have the assets. When they talk about we have trillions upon trillions in minerals in our own country, sure, but we can't mine them. So there's a big change that needs to take place. And before that change takes place, we're going to see a correction and cleansing because the markets cannot go up without printing more money to put fake money, mind you, out of thin air to put it into the banking system so the banks can use it as leverage and raise the market prices up. That's the only way it's been going up the last few years because we printed. We went from 4 trillion in M1 to 20 trillion. It's that large swath of 16 trillion that went into the stock market. It's called liquidity. We don't have liquidity anymore. And unfortunately, until they lower rates and start printing trillions, we're not going to see that market make any major move. But when they do, if they decide to lower those interest rates and print trillions more, that is a perfect storm for gold to march to 5,000, silver to break 50, and eventually march towards 3 figures. It's going to happen. So pay attention to your portfolio. What's more probable for the next 18 to 24 months? No doubt silver will take a lead in outperforming. Just don't think everything's okay and it's going back to the way it was, because we can never go back to the way it is. We can only hope we make the proper changes to rebuild, start spending the trillions instead of overseas, here in the United States, rebuilding our communities from the ground up. If we do that, we just might have a chance. So until next time, God bless you.
With all of the recent changes in the political and financial markets, there has never been a better time than right now to invest in silver and gold. When governments simply print billions of dollars in paper money in hopes of solving financial shortfalls, you know that it is time to buy and hold assets of true and lasting value. Free information is available to you right now by calling 888-747-3309. Whether you are a new investor or you're interested in preserving the value of your retirement accounts, we make it easy for you to make smart decisions for your financial future. The specialists at Cornerstone are here to serve you, work to satisfy your retirement goals, and communicate with respect. Call us right now at 888-747-3309. That's 888-747-3309. Or visit us online at cornerstoneassetmetals.com. That's cornerstoneassetmetals.com.